And we are back. Welcome to Jets 55. You can't fix stupid. And when you're stupid, you need to go away. When someone like Willie Colon has no idea about football, doesn't understand football, strangely enough, doesn't have an idea how the offensive line works, strangely enough, doesn't have any clue what he watched. When he starts out talking on SNY about diarrhea, you're stupid. You need to go away. If you're that dumb, please go away.
Bye-bye.
Clearly did not watch what happened on the television all week. Going to be a defensive battle. Going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be a game with the punters. That's what happened. Plus, you got pouring rain. And then you had 4 drop passes. Then you have Brees Hall being in the wrong spot, ruining another pass to Garrett Wilson. You had Zach on the fire constantly. You had a 4th string center who never snapped the ball. And somehow, toward the end, they held it together. They held it together. They won the game. It wasn't pretty. I love getting a win that wasn't pretty. But Willie Colon, if you're that stupid, please just go away. Because then if you need to sit down with me, I'll explain to you how the center position on an offensive line is very important. Because I guess you don't know that. Because they have to do the cadences, they have to set people up. So with a 4th string center, Zach Wilson was under fire constantly, not to mention some poor routes by the receivers, not getting open, dropping passes. And this, I can't even put it into words.
The guy's getting paid. He thinks he's being cute.
He's not. He's not funny. He's not clever. He's not cute.
And Boomer with his baloney, like, they shouldn't have even been able to play that. It's like, just shut up, Boomer. You stunk with the Jets anyway. He's a Giant fan, I guess. But you heard him, right? It's like, they should never even snap the ball because the referee didn't down it. It's like, the guy did. He rushed up there, he touched it or whatever. He got out of the way. Maybe he didn't, whatever. But they didn't say no. And Zach did a great job. He got it done. So shut up. They're just looking for stuff to talk about. We don't care.
Exactly. And I always, what do I tell our Jets brethren? You know what? Positive vibes. And that's what Jets 55 is about. The positive vibes and the passion. So getting past someone who knows nothing, and maybe if he ever wants to meet with me, I could teach him some things about the offensive line and what he'll need to know or understand the next time he watches a game. So he doesn't have to start off talk about diarrhea, like as stupid, incredibly as stupid as that is.
Once you fill people in, they probably don't know what you're talking about. What was he doing there?
He did, after the game to go to SNY and to go to the 4 knuckleheads. They're all good. I like Bart Scott, because he's
a little rough sometimes too.
He might say things,
yeah,
but at least he'll say his thing. But right off the bat, Willie Colon destroying Zach Wilson, embarrassment. I had diarrhea. Like that. Is that how stupid you wanted to start a show? You start a show using that word. Is that how dumb you are? It's incredible to me.
Well, think about what you're saying. The guy they won a game that, my God, 22 seconds left. It was, we blew another one. Pulled it out of his ass. They won the game. What's the problem? Why do you need to be negative? It's always about the shitting on them that I'm done with. We've been talking about this for a long time now that, they're easy targets. They always have been. But it's not the same anymore. They're not the same organization. They got things going. They got things like over the summer that they never had before. Positive energy with Aaron. We're going to Aaron Rodgers. But they still have the same idiots here, like you just said, Colon, and they're like spinning in the failure zone, right? Where they're expecting the negative, the bad to happen, like most of us usually were or are. But I got to tell you, you looked in those stands, and there were a lot of Jet fans, of course, too. But nobody was like, I'm going to kill myself. It's like they were sitting there. They didn't leave. A couple guys left, but it wasn't like we blew it. Oh, my God. And what did they do? It was a uproarious, exciting end. So for this guy to take that moment and just flush it down the shitter, he's an idiot. It's like, what is your point? What are you trying to accomplish? You just want to be contrarian. You want to be different. We all know the guy needs a lot of work, okay? But look, you want to talk about the game in a minute? We will, and we're going to get into it. But with everything on the line, the guy performed when he had to. That's it. That's the bottom line. We beat the hell out of him for a long time. But
I
He
was not.
needed to perform to end the game. They got the break. The guy missed the friggin' field goal. If he makes that field goal and he kicks off, they're done. He's not going to 75 yards down there. But he gave them that energy, that moment, and he seized the moment. That is the key here. Each time that happens, you build on it.
And look what happened. Listen, when they go to OT, look what happened when they went to OT. And he took that shot. He just got clobbered, but he got the pass off to Garrett Wilson. And it was a pass that allowed Garrett Wilson to get the yak, yards after catch, to get the first down.
And they got the flag, Yeah.
And he thought, then let him get to the next play, which was the play to Taylor, where we got the interference. But, if you want to start criticizing somebody, someone made a good point.
But I'm saying the other time he threw to, what's his name? Garrett Wilson, the Federbo was offsides, so they got the extra benefit.
Well, that was before overtime, right?
But it's the same thing.
He did those two passes. Then he led him in overtime. So it was a nice handful of plays that got him to where they won the game. But it's just, someone made a good point, and I thought it was a really good, good critical thing. If you want to criticize the Giants coach, I'm not talking about not going 4th and 1. I think it was smart. The 33-yard field goal, hit the field goal. Game is over.
Yeah, make them come down the whole field. They haven't done it all day.
Game is over.
Kick it off.
But the whole thing is, someone made a good point. When they won the toss, the Giants, why did they elect to receive? The Jets, okay, if you want to say it, for the most part, were going nowhere against that defense, right? And what do you call it? The Jets were going to stop the Giants. So I thought that was kind of an interesting comment. I didn't put that in my mind about that. But if you think about it, maybe the smart thing for the Giants coach would have done is like, hey, you know what? Let the Jets get the ball. I'm pretty sure we're going to stop them, get good field position, and then maybe we'll have a chance to get a
Think about what you're saying. He's got Danny DeVito back there, whatever the hell his name is. Give the guy a break. Don't bury him at his own, 25, where he's got to go the whole field. And what happens? Holding, it's like, he's done. He's not going to, they wouldn't let him throw a pass anyway. He's not going to do it. So you basically handcuffed him. But I think what happened there was, now we're into the game, right? Now we've transitioned from idiot Cologne. So we're talking about the game, right? Here we are. Okay. What happened in this game was there's an energy that Saleh brings, that Aaron Rodgers being there brings to this team, that there's something that it's transcendent. They are not stuck in the failure zone anymore. So they were blowing it all game. But what was happening all game? Morstead, the MVP of the game, burying them and burying punt after punt after punt. And he was crying, so choked up that the defense, just keep doing it. We got you back, and it's like, it's such a good team. It's such a good chemistry that we've never seen before. So when Dable decided to kick the field goal, I think that was the right move too. Because if you don't get it, okay, now what? They still need is you gave them all that extra possibilities, but if you get the first down, you win the game. So it's 50-50. It's almost like Pete Carroll again in that Super Bowl. But all I'm saying is, when they got the chance, because he missed it, he seized the fucking moment. They all went out there with a purpose, and they executed 2 plays, that's all it was, to perfection. And they all knew what they needed to do, right? Garrett goes out there, catches the ball, right? Gets the first down.
Those are great throws.
Yeah. And then
the guys were wide open, but you have to make the throws. And those throws weren't short throws.
No.
First of all, think about this. They're a 29-yard throw, and he's 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So he has to zip a ball in on a laser 40 yards. But, and
Garrett Wilson's so
let's look at the start of the game. Who's your center? McGovern. Short time in. Who's your center? Wes. Short time in. Who's your center? The guy who's never been a center in his life. Xavier. X. Guy never snapped the ball in his life.
Right.
And and I love when Zach said Xavier's talking to him. He says, "Oh, was that me or you in a fumble?" And Zach's like, "Don't worry about it. Well, whoever it was,
Yeah,
we'll
and
just
he started out at guard for 2 seconds, and now he's okay. They were actually trying guys out to be center, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. That's the way it should be. Just step up, step up. That's truly next man up. What's
That's
what they
good
need.
leader. That's being a good leader, Zach. And then they're running down the field after that first pass. Oh, what's the cadence? He's telling, they never practice together their whole life. You have a fourth string center. Titman's the number 2. And he's out. So you got McGovern, you got Titman, you got Wes. And then, yeah, there was really nobody. We had 3
I was
centers.
ready to jump out there and be a center again. But think about it. You know, he nailed it. He nailed Wilson, Garrett Wilson. He gets the first down. And again, we talked about it. You pointed it out. That stupid offsides, that killed him, Fedebo, right? If
Oh,
that stopped the clock, that basically gave them the timeout, right? And what does he do? He throws that dart to Lazard,
listen,
who was working off
I'm-
schedule. He moved over. You see him go like this. They improvised, and that's this kid's strength, is let him do shit like that. Because you could see Lazard was covered, and he just broke this way, and he threw another dart across his body. So the guy's got an arm. So he threw 2 darts. Garrett with the penalty, and then to Lazard. And you're right, the clock is running out, and they're hustling down the center. He's going down there, he knows what to do. And he could have been like, I don't know, shit, I don't want to mess this up. March down there. They all got right on the line of scrimmage. And Zach is going, hey, running, like, let's go, let's go. He gets up there. The ref rushes in and out. Boom. To perfection. This is not the Jets we're looking at, man. It's not. It doesn't happen. Never.
well,
You know?
listen, you've seen other teams. I see it happen for the Giants. How many teams play a terrible game and somehow pull it out?
Right.
They did it. I know they didn't really play great, but then the other thing is, half the time it was pouring rain. So now you got a defensive struggle, you got pouring rain, you got issues, you got some defensive guys who I think was so hyped up on the bye week, taking bad penalties. Well, it's funny. I don't think that's Zach Wilson's fault that Jermaine Johnson clocked DeVito like a minute, or that Quincy Williams went for the guy's head. I don't think he ever hit his head, but the way it looked, these guys, and oh my God, and what's his name, taking that horrific Mike Coleman, whatever his name, and taking that horrific penalty on a punt. Taking that was Clemens. Clemens, these are horrible mistakes that Zach
down. Jesus Christ, you had them punting. You give him another 3 minutes. Ridiculous.
Listen, I thought 3 games before this, Zach changed in my eyes. In that Kansas City game, I thought I would never have a feeling with that 6 minutes to go after the referee screwed the Jets. I couldn't wait. I wanted to see the ball in Zach's hands. I wanted to see him have a shot. When he almost got hurt, I was like upset that he was almost hurt. So this was a rainy, cold, 4th string center. Receivers not really having, for the most part, a good day. Him getting destroyed, getting pressured, and and they got it. They got the W.
You just made the point, right? Look, this was a day, rainy, terrible, that you needed to do what the Giants did: run the ball. They couldn't run it for shit. Couldn't run it at all, right? Barkley, 126 yards for the Giants, right? So what happens with the Jets? He throws for 240, for Christ's sake. My God. Yes, there were a lot of drop balls too. He would have had over 300. But if they were able to actually run the ball, they would have blown them out because they could not sustain. They couldn't. You got to convert third downs. Got to figure that out. How do you do it? You get yardage on first down. You got to pick up yards on first down.
A little criticism of Hackett is this: they were 4th out of all these third downs they didn't make. There were 4 third down and ones, and not once
didn't run
hand off to Breece Hall. Not once was the ball in Breece Hall's hands to try to get that first down. So
that big fullback, I forgot his name. What the hell? Use him,
Baldwin, yeah.
Bust through there, I don't understand. But look, I think he figures that they're going to expect that. So he wants him to throw. And I just think he's very close that on 4th or 3rd and 1, that's when he's going to throw a touchdown. Something's going to happen like that. But,
you know what? And what's great, they're winning all these games, not doing well in the red zone. And by the way, it's a lot of penalties not on Zach. I'm not saying Zach is, but there was some bad penalties, and they seem to shoot themselves in the foot, and a little bit of Zach. I get it, but think about this: they've won 3 games in a row, playing, I would say, mediocre football, and then in this giant game below mediocre, and they won though. They won 3 games, so think they
They
really
played
are.
mediocre offensive football because look, the defense is just amazing. And they make mistakes, but they have 10 points. Jesus Christ. I mean, they are continually doing the job. And let's talk about it. The AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, Morstead, their special teams in Zerline are stellar. So they are winning defense, winning special teams, and surviving on offense. If they just become a team where the offense is reasonable, forget it. With Aaron Rodgers, it would have been great. And they'd be scoring points like crazy if he was healthy and things were the way they were supposed to be. But think about it. It's like, you're right. They're getting through, but their defense and special teams are playing at a high level. And Brees, Dalvin Cook is just, come on already, And the other guy, I almost say get the Abakalanda guy up there. I forgot his name. I forgot how to
Izzy.
pronounce
Call him Izzy.
Izzy, right. Let him come up there and maybe because Michael Carter's doing nothing again.
I
Zero.
like Michael Carter, but he
I
hasn't
do too, but he's not doing
doesn't get a
anything.
chance. Doesn't get a chance to play a lot, though.
Well, look, Brees, you cannot run 12 times for 18 yards. It's not happening. And then you're a Barry Sanders. If you break one, your average looks good. You've got to be considered Curtis Martin, over.
I think, yeah, like Salah said, I think Cook is gonna do some stuff. I just have this feeling.
Yeah,
I take my 2 gut feelings right now, and we'll get past this game, and we'll talk a little bit about the offensive line moves, and we'll talk about receivers.
right.
But I just think Cook is gonna do something good. He's gonna play some good ball for us. And my second prediction is, I really think we beat the Chargers handily.
I hope so. That's a good team, but you got them in your house now.
Got
And
him in the house. They lost one of they have some good receivers. They lost one of their good ones to all these guys, the Achilles or whatever the hell they get. But their defense, I think you
still have the running back, you got
to stop that running back. More not running, more catching the ball out of the backfield. And I think if you can slow that guy down, but I'm going to still go with it that I think the Jets win and win handily, and we're going to be 5-3. But
for that to happen, you have to use what's in front of you more aggressively. You have to be successful on first down, and when you get to third down, you can't go 0 for 14. Come on, you have to convert some of those. So whether it's changing it up and not throwing, like you said, but you got to start moving to change. You can't do that against the team.
One of those third down conversions. One of those third down conversions. Brees Hall. I love Brees Hall. He's the best. Drop the ball. One of the third down
touchdown if he would have, if he cut it the right way.
That was the other one. That was the other one where in overtime, when they got it to overtime, my God, put it right where he had it, like a short pass right there, and you could just see really. The ball, it wasn't even hitting his hands. He was turning his head, and of course he dropped it. And like I said, listen, these are things that, and that's another thing. We never do well after bye weeks. We always lose for the most part. So the Eagles, we got that albatross off our shoulders. The bye week, we got that albatross off our shoulders.
And the Giants, playing and beating the Giants. That's a big deal,
Well, in the regular season, we've beaten them. It's pretty much over all these years, but we got rid of a bunch of albatrosses, and the next one we have to get the monkey off our back, and maybe it's going to be. I'm interested in how meaningful the game might be. Is that last week, and we'll talk about the schedule, the paths. But listen, let's go with those guys. Okay, we're past the game. It is what it is. It was ugly. It was an ugly betting. You know what it was? And it was a W. Can't take it away.
And guess what? When those guys ran off the field, look at Salah, man. He is never giving up. Like the game was done. But there's a nice play. Yeah, yeah, he's still into it. He doesn't just like start doing the Joe Walton picking his nose there. He's into it, always into it. And I think these guys feed off of that. And when Zach went out there, you know, let's go. He even said one time before, throw the ball. Like, why didn't you throw the ball? I sort of mouthed it. Like, so he's like, and then when he goes and does the job, he's like, yeah, it's like such an energy. He's like he's into it. He's like not Pete Carroll, but Pete Carroll does that, you know. You guys know that he's your coach and he cares. And I think that goes a long way. He's so intense, he's so smart, he's so into the violence and the family and the he's building a culture there that you win a game like this, you beat the Giants. That means something.
We don't win. That's the thing. We
Okay.
never win games like this. So it's like, okay, man, dig it, enjoy it, criticize it, critique it. Yeah, get down and dirty, but man, just you
Yeah.
gotta throw the positive vibes, man. Like Aaron Rodgers, positive vibes.
And think about it. You're going to talk about now the O line. Perfect, right? They lost a couple of old linemen, but they didn't lose, the Brickashaw Ferguson. They didn't lose Mangold like back. They lost guys. They weren't like Connor McGovern and Schweitzer are okay linemen. It's not like they lost these guys that they've been there. Replace them now. Let's go. Just get these
Yeah,
guys in
but,
and figure it out.
yeah,
They
but still,
lost
the
them,
thing
yes.
is,
I
the
mean,
history of the Jets. I gotta say, the history of the Jets. The second a good, an important person goes down in an important position, they always got destroyed. The other team will
right.
go after that. So McGovern, I think,
Elko and
is a
all
good
those guys.
business.
Yeah.
But the second you figure McGovern went down, oh my God, now they're going to abuse him. And then the next guy goes down. It's this never happens with the Jets that somehow they somehow, even with all of that and his ugly Betty win, they get to win. So the culture is changing because we've watched them for how many years? We've watched them for 56 years now, and they never win games like this. And they won it. And the guy, and I love Sal in the locker room. He's like, great, we grinded it out, but we got a lot to work on.
Enjoy it for 24 hours and that's it, like they
We got
say.
a lot to work on.
But
But going to these guys, what do you think? Roger Saffold and the big boy Kelly from Purdue.
well,
Purdue,
here's the thing. You're right. They're both big guys. They're both veterans. They're both experienced. These are
Saffold
guys
Pro
that,
Bowler.
huh?
Pro
Saffold,
Bowler stuff.
like you said, was a Pro Bowl guy. Yeah. And this guy, Kelly, played with the Titans. They both were on the Titans a couple of years, 2019, 20, whatever it is, 2020. And they were both, I believe, with Carter, the offensive line coach. So what did Joe Douglas do? We know he tried to make some moves. He brought two guys in that understand what this offensive lineman's theory is, how coach, his coaching, specialty. And these guys are going to fit right in and do it. Now, I don't know if they're going to be in this week. You would think one of them will. You're going to get Tippmann back, and he should be the starting center, which is fantastic, I hope. So your left side of that line should be, knock wood, the same. Becton's doing great, Tomlinson, and then hopefully Tippmann. And okay, so now what do? You're back to where you have to rotate out some of those tackles, but now you infuse these guys, like we were just talking about, they could play either position. They're not like, incapable of doing it if they need to. So you got more guys like this guy that was the fourth string center comes in, but they have something to prove. This guy Kelly, he's what? He's 6'8". My God, 6'8", 3.25. The other guy's 6'4", 3.25. They're both, big guys, been around. That's perfect. I just hope.
A lot of experience with our line coach Carter. So yeah.
No one's asking them to be, Hall of Fame offensive linemen. It's just throw a few blocks down so that you open up a lane so Breece Hall can break one. Protect him long enough so maybe he can find Garrett Wilson a couple times. Maybe he throws a couple touchdowns for once, He builds on what we were talking about. And look, that's the goal, is to find a way. I don't know what else you could have done. You had to replace these guys, don't you think? What the hell else could they have done?
He got, listen, let's be frank, they weren't on a team or whatever the deal was, but they're guys that, the experience himself and the size. I'm digging it, and being familiar with Carter. Listen, it's not going to be
Guy from
perfect.
Minnesota would have been good, but that wasn't
Right.
going to work.
Nah, it wasn't going to work. But you put Tim in that set,
Different
say Tim in that
different
set,
system. He even said it's a different
right?
system than what we do. So he got two guys that fit in to what they want to do. So that gives you a half a step, maybe, that you're ahead of the curve with these guys than if you bring a different body in. But you're
And
right.
then listen,
Physical.
if you're looking at Tim in at center, and if you got the left side consistent, you got Tim in at center, you got Max Mitchell, and I'm thinking you have Saffold at right guard, you have
Billy
Xavier
Turner's there too.
you have
What about
Xavier
Turner?
back
You know,
up to Titman just in case. You can get things done. But listen, let's look at the elephant in the room, though. I'm a little disappointed. Um, Obviously, Douglas says it takes two to dance, but wide receivers, after Garrett and Lazard, I mean, someone has to, whether it's the kid Taylor, Brownlee, or Gibson, someone has to step up as a third receiver.
yeah.
Because you know, they tried with Adams. I don't know what deals they were looking at. They tried to get Evans. I don't know what deals. But again, like
But
Douglas
they
says,
said they were both
take,
unavailable, so they
yeah,
wanted to
take to
move
the
them.
tango. And if guys don't want to, if they don't want to work with you or dance with you, what are you going to do? You can't.
And what did Mark Davis do the next day? He blows out, you know, Mister, visor, Josh, with his idiot, stupid visor. What a moron! And now he'll go back to New England again. Watch, he's a failure. All these Belichick again. We could get into that again. All these guys fail. Right? There's only one guy that's good. It was Vrabel. All these other guys that had their chances stink. So
Well, look at this. Well, you want to talk about failure? You know what? Let's be frank. Bill Belichick, since Brady's gone, is a failure.
yeah,
He's not a good
yes,
coach.
right. But you're
Sorry.
right, though. We'll get into that. You're right. But I got to tell you, who who could they have gotten? Who? I'm not going to freak out. Was there? They didn't want the other guy, Renfro, right, on the Raiders because he's more of a possession guy. So he wanted guys, didn't get him. He said, "Okay, we'll use what we got." But then you still have Conklin, you have Ruckert, you've got
Yeah.
you got to use the tight ends, and yeah, I don't know. They still can't seem to develop something that is sustainable. But
It's a little surprising, but and then you also need. But let's look at it too. Like, listen, they're not a good record. They've been horrible offensively, but the Giants still have a really good defense.
I was just going to say that. Do you think it's a better defense than the Chargers?
Oh yeah, oh
See,
yeah.
so
Chargers. I don't think Chargers defense is that good.
right.
They
So
give up a lot of.
hopefully,
They've lost a
hopefully
lot of
this
games.
opponent measures up better than the
They don't
Giants.
have a good record. Look at their record. They don't have a good record. I
Mhm.
mean, they give up a lot of points. It's our job to stop their offense and listen, let's get some scores in the red zone. I think it's going to be a big game. But I'm interested to see. I mean, obviously the deadline passes. It doesn't mean a receiver can't be signed here or there if something is figured out. But I was a little disappointed. But look at it this way. On that last pass, which was pass interference, Taylor got wide open. So that was a good sign. He was wide open.
So,
And
they're learning. Rodgers has hastened not just Zach along, but the whole team along. So just you got to hope that when they come out there, that they play up to a higher level. Like I'm still waiting for Gibson to do a little bit more as a receiver. Get open, catch some balls. I want to see Brownlee, that guy, just one ball, a couple balls, and then things change. But look, you're right. Just go out there, put some points up on this defense, and you got to be careful on defense. You can't give them more than 10 points a game. But I mean, you made a good point though about Belichick, right? I just dawned on me, right? Think of that Tom Brady effect, right? Right.
come on.
Well, listen, forget about there's no doubt. But now, since he's been gone, look at what's going on in the league. That's not the story anymore. Now, without the Brady thing and the Patriots, there's room in this league for other stories. Talk about Kelsey and Taylor Swift. And then the Jets, Jets with Hard Knocks. And what's happening right now, they were going to flex them out of that Sunday night game with the Raiders, but they didn't. They decided we're going to keep that game. Even though they fired, they want you to now watch the Jets. So they are performing their story, right? Josh McDaniels, another genius, is come and gone without Tom Brady, right? So it is Tom Brady. You know? The point that I'm trying to make is this league now has less spectacular quarterbacks than it did a few years ago, right? It does. And the Jets have a better chance because of that, right? Now you got half a dozen spectacular great ones, but now you the level of play is not the same, but it's still a quarterback driven league, so they're going to protect them. But without Brady, you don't even look. The Jets are a different team when Tom Brady was in the league. There's just this, oh my God, it's like Halloween every day. There's something going on. I don't even care when they were playing then, because you'd watch film and you'd see what he'd do, have them win and do something that, oh my God, why can't you? All of those things, like just hit him instead of trying to tip the ball loose. Who was that years ago that did that? Was it Hobson or one of those guys that instead of just blunting Brady, he went to try to do the tip. Brady moved up, drew a touchdown.
That was Vilma.
Jonathan Vilma. So I am just feeling that that's all gone, and Salas filled that void.
Right.
And you're right.
But there's good quarterbacks. I mean, listen, Kansas City is still the team to beat, but you see that they are beatable. It's not this, all be a huge upset. No, if you play a good game, you can beat these guys. The Eagles are good, Hurts is good. But the whole thing is like San Francisco was looking like they were unbeatable. Now they've had their issues. They got that great defensive end from the Commanders, which is a little annoying. That's going to help the defense, which they kind of need. The defense really was kind of
an NFC team, so who cares, And
exactly.
Brock Purdy's not
yeah, but you're not looking at a team out there like now. What team are you going to say, "Wow, this is the team"? No, like I said, there is Mahomes. But like I said, the Jets showed the Eagles are beatable, and Denver, as much as I can't stand Denver, they showed that Kansas City is beatable, and they did what we couldn't do with the help of the referees, couldn't get it done.
You said Brady come in there and Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, right? And Philip Rivers, even they throw 4 touchdowns every week or for a while. I don't feel that vibe anymore, right? Brady was the last one, Rodgers might have been if he was in there, but you're not having that quarterback playing at like Joe Burrow. I don't know. He's been hurt. He's whatever. He's already lost the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, no, who's the guy right now? It's still Mahomes.
Well, every time you think of a guy, isn't a guy anymore. He
doesn't throw 4 touchdowns a game, right? Come on.
Right. So, but everybody left the Bengals dead, and then now the last 3 games of Bengals have been unbelievable. Burrow is about so. Is it sustainable with these guys? But it is like you said, there's no one out there. But speaking of quarterbacks, then, did you go nuts when you saw Rodgers do the? Oh my God! Come on, 3-step drop. What is that? I lost my mind. I'm
listening to him on McAfee again, and he's like, "I'm ahead of schedule." It's like the guy wants to come back. It's ridiculous, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But they were asking.
You're thinking there's 18 weeks in the season. You see him coming back the 16th on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. That's what I think happening against the Commanders. So you got the Commanders, Cleveland, Commanders at home. It's cold weather. It's all that. But you got, the Commanders at home, in Cleveland, in New England. And then hopefully, whatever, playoffs. Who knows?
Well, we would have. Let me ask you. Okay, so we would have played 14 games. And he said Rodgers, like, he'll only come back if it's worth it, which is he's not playing games. He's not hiding it. But I would think if they were 8-6, he would want to play those last 3 games. But I wonder if it's really like kind of tedious, not tedious, if it's like really maybe they're 7-7. If they're 7-7, would he come back? So you know what?
It all depends on how everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. Right now, they're in the friggin' playoffs, pretty much. They're in there, or they're the 8th seed. They're right there. So I don't know. It's crazy to say.
But your point, say they're 7-7. and they're the 7th seed at 7-7. Yeah, I guess you would want to play those last 3 games, right? I would think,
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting. If they could, geez, they won 3 in a row. I mean, think about it. To beat San Diego and then to say the Jets won 4 in a row when they were 1-3, I was done. I hated. I was I was Willie Cologne when they were 1-3. Seeing Zach play horrible. That's why. I mean, I'm actually always liked Willie Cologne, but I just seeing how he came out the way he did. But I was right with them. Like when they were 1-3.
Yeah, and
Like I
listen,
wanted Zach out so bad, but
people
something
think
happened. I'm
that
sorry,
I
something
think
Rogers effect, whatever you want to call it. Something happened.
well, I think we're all hoping that the light clicks in the kid's head and it results in touchdowns. It went off and he said, "We have time." It's like, okay, kid, like after him, it's like, keep going, it's like eventually it's not going to work, but you got to score in the first friggin' quarter, or, you got to throw a couple touchdowns. You got to put 20 points up. If this friggin' team puts 24 points up every week, they'd be undefeated. You know what I mean? Let's be realistic here, because ridiculous because of the defense and special teams. But right now, like you just said, all right, we got to get to Christmas Eve and then we'll see what happens. So let's do
Well,
the math.
let's look at it. Let's look at the schedule, okay? Because
Yeah,
now
let's do
obviously
the math.
we got San
You got the
Diego.
Chargers at home, and then you go into Las Vegas, which is a nice warm weather game. It's not going to be. It's the Raiders. The Raiders are in turmoil. That's more dangerous now without those coaches and without
Yeah,
Garoppolo.
I
So
think
I don't
I
like that game, but then it's the
yeah.
Raiders. It's always the same. Chargers, Raiders, Bills at the Bills, and then Dolphins at home. Those are 4 hard games.
Wow.
At least
I think the Raiders becomes a tough game because of when a team like that, they all kind of circle the wagons and they play together and they try to do it for the new coach or the interim coach and they're going to give their best. So that could be, yeah. So 1 week at a time, but those are 4, all of them interesting, have their own characteristics. Okay. But after those
if you want to
4,
get them to 8-6, like you said, if they win these next 2, I really think he's got them going 1 game at a time. They don't think about it. But if they somehow can get the Chargers and the Raiders, which theoretically you would think they should, and if Rodgers was there, they should. No, neither of those teams is more talented than anybody they've already played. It's just that they're not better than the Bills, even though they
the
beat them.
worst case scenario, you want out of those 4 games, you want 2-2, which would get you to
Six and
what are we
five.
4-3 would get you 6-5, right?
And
6 and
then you
5.
got Atlanta and Tennessee. Got to win those 2, and then you come to Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but what happened to this quarterback
The
Lewis?
Dolphins then.
What happened to this quarterback Lewis in Tennessee? Throws 4 TD passes the first NFL game. He throws 14. Who is he? He throws 4 TD passes, and
Tennessee,
obviously,
though. I'm talking about Houston. They
no.
don't
But
play. They play the Texans.
did you say Tennessee or Texans?
Maybe I said Tennessee, but they play the Falcons and the Texans,
Oh, okay, good because I was kind of
and both of them are home games, Vin. Both home games. So
wow.
that's December 3rd and December 10th. So this next 6 games, just to do the math one more time: home against the Chargers, in Las Vegas, weather's good, right? At Buffalo, weather sucks. We know it's November 19th. At home against the Dolphins, then at home Falcons, at home Texans, and then you go the 17th again in Miami. So there's your 7 games that you're talking about.
It should be 8-6. Worst case, it should be 8-6.
Well, then what you're saying is they should go 4-3 again. And if the competition is better, they should go 5-2.
Yeah.
Right?
Um,
Hey, we're halfway now. I think it's halfway.
I'm
Right?
thinking 4-3, and then 8-6. And if Rogers is a go, he said he would only play if he's healthy. 1 of obviously, and 2 if there's a reason to play. Like I said, if they're 6-8, I don't think he's going in. But if they're 8-6, this is going to be real interesting.
Well, let's do it because we did it at the beginning of the year, but now we can do it with Zach. You got 4-3. You got Chargers, Raiders, Bills, Dolphins.
I'm saying I'm going 2-2, 6-5.
I think 3-1. I think they beat the Chargers and the Raiders, and I think they don't beat the Bills, but they do beat the Dolphins at home.
Dolphins. One thing with Dolphins, man, I know we got the secondary. We gotta get the Tua because Hill.
The Black Friday game. That's Friday, day after Thanksgiving, at home.
Hill and Waddle, man. That's that's
They're only a game and a half behind them right now.
you know.
So then after those, if you go 2-2, I say 3-1. Falcons, Texans.
Yeah, you gotta. If you don't beat them, then I don't want to even talk about anything else. We don't beat them, so that's why I have us at 8-6. Then
I have us at 9-5.
but then I have us losing that next game in Miami.
I have them just losing to Buffalo out of those games. At Buffalo and
Buffalo, Miami, the
and
home
Miami.
game, road game against Miami.
In Miami, yeah. Which they're divisional games, which sucks. But and then you got 3 left, and it's Cleveland might be out of it or fighting for a spot, but if Aaron Rodgers is playing at the end, what a story. The whole league is gonna be crazy, nuts, But imagine if this guy comes back.
Somebody will be hoping he fails, but
if he comes in Christmas Eve and they make the playoffs and they get to the championship game somehow, and it's still Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, what the fuck? Can you imagine what that would be like, the lead up to a championship game, even though he was done? And and you see, look, last thing I want to say, when he's throwing on the sidelines there, Zach's right there with him. So Zach Wilson is cool with all of this. If Aaron Rodgers is ready, he's good. He's good. The kid, he understands that that's my mentor. He's helped me a lot, but he's still the man. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back, Vinny, and gets this fucking thing done, it'd be ridiculous. We deserve it. We deserve it. We deserve it, man. It's like
deserve it. We need it. It's been a long time. Well, the last thing I'm going to say is JETS, one game at a time. And I'm going to go my prediction. I think we take it to the Chargers. I hope I'm right.
I hope so. Chargers is always a weird game.
It is weird.
They always do well in San Diego. Now they're LA, So we were at that Charger game, remember? When they won the playoff game, So, but the Chargers have a way of messing things up, like the way the Jets used to, like I said, the bugaboo thing. So maybe the crowd can screw him up, mess them up, and the defense will come flying around. If they did it to Mahomes and the Chiefs, why can't they do the same thing to the Chargers? Come on,
I hope so. But let's see. One game at a time.
You're saying like 27-3, like that. That's what you're telling me.
I'm thinking like I'm crazy, like 31-13.
Okay. Then who's scoring these touchdowns? Tell me. No. I mean, I'm not being silly. Is he going to throw a few? Because if he could throw a few touchdowns, wow.
I say there's 2 touchdown throws and 2 running TDs. I think Brees has a big game. I think the receivers do better. I think one of those 3 we talked about comes through with a decent game. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm seeing. A little more tight end play.
So 2 on the ground, 2 on the ground, 2 in the air is what you're saying.
Yeah. And let's keep those guys in check. You got to give them 1 TD. Let's keep them in check for the most part.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one game like that and then go to the Raiders and hopefully put a shellacking on them? That'd be something. If they get these next 2 and they're 6-3 and then they got to go up in Buffalo, you're playing with house money then. Not that you could lose one, but I don't want to lose one. That's loser time. But hey, man.
Get 55. Love you people watching. Appreciate you. And
one thing, we're very sorry. Vinny and I made a mistake. We forgot that today isn't Halloween, so we'll take the masks off for next week. Okay, we don't want to scare you too much.
It's even worse. It's even worse.
No, it's always fun, buddy. But
good stuff.
You know, we're going out on a high, I hope, before we drop dead. I think we're on the right track, you know. It's like, let's go, you know. So yeah, like you
Win.
say, yeah, right. Oh, I'm coming, Elizabeth. You know, you're never going to see a game like that we come out. You don't. And Dable, what's the first thing they did? Who'd they move? Leonard Williams, gone. They traded him. So we basically, the Jets just put the coffin, they coffinized them, you know, they put the Giants out. So this year, Giant fans, sorry, but the Jets killed the rest of your season, any hopes. You know, you've done it to the Jets. You laugh at the Jets. I'm not laughing. I'm not that way. But that's what happened. You know, they had the game. It's brutal. You don't recover from that. They probably lose the next 4 or 5 games out of 6 and 7. You know, they're going to be rough for them. But and I don't hate them anymore. But
I know, but Danny Dimes, he'll be back, but I don't know
I
if he's
think
worth.
so.
I don't think he's worth 160 million. That was their decision. But when it comes down to it, JETS baby, let's go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
you got it. Anyway, talk to you next week and go get them. Actually, it's Monday night, so have fun. All right, man.
5. Peace. Peace
Got it.
out.